No matter the location, from O-A-K-L-A to L-V, I'm a Raider.
Let's get into today's Raiders mailbag. Mitchell Renz here, and you are watching the Raiders Report. We go live every single Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, 3 p.m. Pacific. So if you want to get your questions featured on the show, there's two ways to do it. Either watch the live show, or you can start DMing me on IG at MitchellRenz365. Super chat coming in here from Jake. What up, my dude? Could you see the Raiders winning the AFC West in the next 3 years? Sure. You just got to continue to get better, especially on defense. It's not going to be easy, though, and they're always going to be underdogs with Patrick Mahomes. Let's go to Zornell. Get a pick. Do think should trade for OBJ? Zornell, my man, you need Grammarly, my dude. I'm going to say no. I do not want the Raiders to trade for another diva wide receiver when defense is by far the biggest need. If you're going to go out and trade for a receiver, it's also probably not going to be Odell Beckham Jr. I'd rather just sign a top guy in free agency. Garrett, Marcus Maye or Marcus Williams? I'm going to go with Marcus Williams, but in my video where I rank the top free agent safeties, they are back-to-back. If you want a more versatile safety, it's probably Marcus Maye. Played 400 snaps at free safety, 250, I believe, in the box, and then another 150 at like strong safety, I believe is the numbers off the top of my head. Marcus Williams, though, he fits the Gus Bradley system a little bit better, that true center fielder in that coverage 3. Let's go to Xavier Charles. What up, my man? I'm torn between Cisco and Holland at 45. I feel Holland is safer, but more tape I watch of Cisco, the more I love him. So you're talking about the Raiders' second-round pick. I don't believe it's actually pick number 45. I believe it's 48 off the top of my head. But Andre Cisco, if you're looking for somebody that can force turnovers, Cisco's the guy that can do that. The issue is some of his game tape is just bad. He gets burned a lot. He overcommits. The safer prospect, in my opinion, is Holland from Oregon, who his first 2 years in college football, 9 interceptions as a freshman and sophomore, decided to opt out. I am a little bit worried about some of these guys that decide to opt out because you're going to see some of these coaches like Gruden question how much they like football. But if I had to pick between just both of them, I would take Holland in the second round. But if you could either tell me Cisco in round 4, which is actually where I think he goes, or Holland in round 2, I'll take Cisco in round 4. We got Pascal Frank. Greetings from German. Bonjour. No, from a German. Wie geht es dir? Who is studying in Spain right now? Raider Nation is international. I'm watching you since 10,000 subs. Let's go, Raider Nation. That's what's up, Pascal. I appreciate you. And if you want to join Pascal, if you want to join the best Raider show on YouTube, all I ask you to do is subscribe. The link is below, youtube.com/Raiders Report. And if you want to get this show to 75K, which is definitely what I'm trying to do, seriously, take the link that you see below, Pascal. Send it to all your friends out there. The more subscribers we get, the more videos we can do. Imagine a world where I can do 2 Raider shows a week. Or 2 Raider shows a week. 2 Raider shows a day, 14 shows a week. We're close. We just need more subs. Let's go to Canada Spring. Okay, surprise player that the Raiders could draft at pick 17. So it depends what they ultimately need. When I think about a surprise player that really wouldn't surprise me, that I think would actually fit really well in the Gus Bradley system, is edge rusher from Georgia, Azeez Ojulari. I don't know if he's going to go in the first round, and I don't know if he should go in the first round. But if you could tell me us looking back in the draft and being like, man, there was that one dude that went in round 2, he just ended up being a success story, I think it actually could be Azeez. Now, if he could be this like Melvin Ingram style of edge rush linebacker where if you don't decide to bring back Morrow, you put him on the outside because you're going to have Littleton, you're going to have Kukowski. Those are going to be the guys in the middle. Then if you could figure out your 2 edge rushers, which I think could be a guy like Azeez, maybe just throw in Jonathan Abram there, let him go crazy as your other edge rusher. I do think, though, Azeez is a player to keep in mind to be a sleeper at pick number 17. So besides Azeez, is there somebody else? Give me another player that you think could be a surprise pickup by the Raiders at pick 17 overall. I've already made a video out there about my top players that the Raiders could draft at 17. I would definitely switch up the order now, but some of those dudes I definitely still think deserve to be up there. The guy that I like the most is Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, so do not mention him here because I'm sorry, that would not be a surprise whatsoever. But if you think there's another prospect that I'm missing, please let me know. Super chat from Oscar DLT. I would rather sign Marvin Jones than Aguilar. The only reason why I'm going to respectfully disagree with you is because I know Nelson Aguilar knows the system, and I know he has chemistry with Derek Carr. If you're going to pay Nelson Aguilar, let's say $8-9 million, and you tell me I can get exactly what I got last year, 47 catches, about 860 yards, and 8 touchdowns, I'll take that. Marvin Jones, I can't guarantee that I'm going to get that, and I just don't know if the chemistry is going to be there. All right, let's go to Solomon T. Super Chat. Best switches to Tyrell. Some mocks have us drafting Trey Lance. Well, they're dumb. And what is our cap looking like? We signed JJ and Leonard. Love to the Raider Nation and to you. So if you sign JJ, so does that mean JJ Watt? I don't think it's going to happen. He's probably going to be asking for 12, 13 million personally, in my opinion, and or Leonard. So right now the Raiders are sitting with 7.2 million. So negative 7.2 million in terms of cap space. That's when I look at the latest number. So when you look at Spotrac, when you look at over the cap, it's listed at 18. They haven't updated it yet after the Leonard or after Tyrell Williams has been cut. I'm telling you, it's about negative 7.2. You move on from a whole bunch of other players. Bottom line is this: the Raiders can bring in a guy like Leonard Williams, but you can't bring in both Watt and Williams. All right, next question's coming in here from Theo Henry. Is Mo Hurst a long-term option? For whatever reason, I don't know why the Raiders don't like Mo Hurst, and I couldn't understand why he didn't get as much playing time last year. He was the best defensive tackle the Raiders had, maybe minus Cleveland Ferrell. If you could tell me I could get Mo Hurst, and then you go out and sign somebody like, Shelby Harris, Dalvin Tomlinson, Leonard Williams, I would love that in terms of defensive tackles. But for whatever reason, I don't get why they don't like Mo. Super chat coming in from Graham. Thoughts on playing Arnette in the slot? No, he's way too slow. With Trey and Isaiah Johnson on the outside? No, I mean, Trayvon Mullen's great. No offense to Isaiah Johnson. He's just not a starting caliber cornerback. He's a good depth player, but I've seen enough from Isaiah to know that that's not the route I personally want to go. If that's the route the Raiders go with Isaiah Johnson and, Damon Arnette, you're going to be a very, very unhappy fan base again. I'm hoping you get some faster players on the outside. It's just not those two guys. Let's go to Alvin G818. Can Mariota take us to the playoffs and win a Super Bowl? No, he can't. And also, if he were to do that with his contract, you'd have to pay him $38 million. Not worth it. Let's go to K. Davis here. Is Marvin Wilson a possibility? Yes, Marvin Wilson is still a possibility. The issue is I would want somebody like a Leonard Williams or even like a guy like J.J. Watt next to him because I know J.J. Watt's going to push Marvin Wilson. Wilson's tape in 2019, you could have argued he was the best defensive tackle in 2019. Like, that's how good his tape was. 2020 tape, he looked a little bit lazy. Drafting lazy players definitely worries me, especially for the Raiders. Now, also what worries me, the world, man. It's been one hell of a year. I'll tell you what, though. If you're trying to stay safe, easiest way to do it, still wearing your face mask. I know we don't talk about COVID as much as we used to, but it's still a thing. Do the right part. I don't want to go back to 2020. So go to chatsports.com/RaidersMask. Now, here's the other thing. It's freaking cold in a lot of places in the United States. I'm down here in Dallas, Texas. Heck, I've been thinking about wearing 2 masks because that's how cold it is. So can you stay warm? Are you also staying safe? Yes and yes. These masks are also machine washable, and we got good deals on them. Up to 65% off. Some of them I actually believe are also 75% off. All you got to do to get yourself a new Raiders face mask. chatsports.com/RaidersMask. Now, it's a lot more than the ones that we just showed on screen as well. They got tons, and I mean tons of them. Also the ones that the players wear as well. If you don't want to wear a mask, that's a you problem. I'm saying that do the right thing. Be a leader. Don't be a follower. chatsports.com/RaidersMasks. All right, we got a super chat coming in from C-Roll. This is Can't Walk. Oh, okay, man. What's up, brother? Realistically, who do you think Raiders will pursue during free agency? Realistically, I think Rayshawn Jenkins. I think a guy like Kelvin Beachum if they decide to move on from Trent Brown. Also, Patrick Peterson wouldn't surprise me. Marcus Williams will be interesting. Dalvin Tomlinson, Leonard Williams. I mean, they're going to go in a lot of different directions. They're going to have money to work with. So you're going to see a lot of defense. And I am hoping in terms of the players they re-sign, top 2 is Denzel Good and Nelson Aguilar. Those should be the top 2 priorities to re-sign. Demo Roof. Which one of our quarterbacks is most likely to get traded? It's Marcus Mariota, and it's not even close. Got an Instagram question coming in from Lucas Panum. Remember, I understand that not all y'all can join our live shows, but message me on IG, Mitchell Renz 365, for a chance to be featured during our mailbag. Should the Raiders sign Haason Reddick? It's an interesting question. I do think that Reddick would be a good fit with this Raiders team. It's really going to come down to how much money he wants. I've seen some people project him to get $9 million. I think that's a little bit too low for a player like Reddick, who was drafted in the first round out of Temple. I don't really think the Arizona Cardinals used him right. It's kind of the same way they didn't really use Isaiah Simmons right. Now, they're both very different players, but if you're telling me right now, I could go out and get a guy who had 20 tackles for a loss, who had 12.5 sacks last year. Some of it was in garbage time, but he is a good player. I just don't think that it ultimately ends up happening. If it does happen, though, yes, I'll be excited. All right, let's go to Vincent. How much would we have to give up for Stephon Gilmore? I mean, you're looking at the player who won 2019 Defensive Player of the Year. Sure, he had a bad injury this year. I still think that the New England Patriots would want a first-round pick. I know some people, when I talked about a Marcus Mariota, Trent Brown to the New England Patriots trade, like, oh, for Gilmore, it's still not enough. It still wouldn't be enough. If the Patriots gave up on Gilmore for anything less than a first-round pick, I would be very surprised because he's one of the best cornerbacks when fully healthy. I get that he had a horrible injury last year, but I'm going to say a first-round pick. Zornell, JP, ED from you at 17. Is that Jalen Phillips from, okay. All right, so I guess Jalen Phillips, edge rusher from the U, Miami, at pick 17. It could be an option. I've talked about him before. The issue is here in 2018, he was at UCLA. He actually thought about retiring from football in general. Yes, a college football player thought about retiring because of concussions. Then he took a year off in 2019. 2020 came back to Miami, and he had a good year. And he really finished the year strong. I believe 6.5 tackles over the last 6 games or something like that. He's a good player. He was a 5-star recruit. He's got all the intangibles. He's got all the tools. But it does scare me that he was considering retiring from concussions. If that's not the question you're going for, Zornell, I'm trying, my man. But your questions are like trying to find out where Waldo is sometimes. But I love you. I just want you to know that. So name a potential 2021 NFL draft bust. Go down in the comments section and let me know. Do you think it's Jalen Phillips? I mean, if the concussions come into play, sure. Another player that I am actually starting to get worried about could be a bust is Kwity Paye because I was really high on him early. It's starting to scare me a little bit. Always got to be worried about the quarterbacks, no doubt about that, especially when you could see 5 quarterbacks go in the top 20. But if you know another player, you're like, Mitch, you've been talking about this guy. You don't want him. Let me know. Name a potential 2021 NFL draft bust. Now, if you guys don't get your question answered on the mailbag, I'm sorry. There's 850 y'all watching live right now. Just know that I do every night. I check my DMs, and I try to go through to 50, 100 questions every night. If I don't get to it, just know that I will eventually get to it. I promise you. So, if you have a question, hit me up. Slide in the DMs. It's down below. All right, Caleb Martinez, just a joke, but do you think that the Chiefs would give up Patrick Mahomes for 10 first-rounders? No, I don't think 10 first-rounders would be enough. Let's go to OC Run. Are Mahomes and Herbert better quarterbacks than Derek Carr? Mahomes, of course he is. Justin Herbert right now is at least, I think, progressing that way. He just won Rookie of the Year. But if you're telling me who's the better quarterback right now for this year, I'll take Derek Carr. If you're asking me which quarterback would I rather have for the next 10 years and build my team around, I'd actually probably around the Rookie of the Year, Justin Herbert. All right, let's go to Joey Ross. What are your thoughts on quarterback Trey Brown from Oklahoma? I'm dying to see one of the Sooners become a Raider. So, producer Sam, he went to OU, so he's got this big grin on his face. No disrespect to him. I'm not a big fan of Trey Brown from Oklahoma. So, Sam goes, I'm not a big fan of you. It's just not the route that I'm going to go at cornerback. It's simply because I just don't think he has enough tools right now, and the Raiders have enough, I'm going to say, question marks at the cornerback position. We don't need another question mark, and that's what Trey Brown is to me. So if you guys want to get your questions on the show, use hashtag Raiders or Super Chat. We'll answer a few more, and then I got to get out of here before it starts to snow and Sam and I get trapped here. Manny Villegas, how do you feel about signing Marcus Williams and draft Richie Grant in the 2nd or 3rd round? Richie Grant's going to go in the 2nd round, so if you want him, he's safety from UCF, definitely an option. And then Marcus Williams, I mean, you're spending a lot of money. If you spend that much money on Williams, who I think is probably going to get $14, $15 million a year, that means you're definitely not getting Leonard Williams. I don't know if you're going to be able to get another top DT. And I know Gus Bradley wants a top DT unless you're confident in saying, hey, I can get Marcus Williams, I can maybe get Richie Grant, and then maybe I can draft Christian Barmore at pick number 17. But, Manny, I do like your thought process. Trevor Lawrence. No, Robert. I mean, we'd have to give up. I don't know if you have kids. We'd probably have to give up your kids, my future kids, to be able to go out and get Trevor Lawrence. And it's just, I don't think it's going to happen. So, Trevor Lawrence, he is going to go to the Jacksonville Jaguars. If anybody else has any other crazy questions, seriously, hit me up on IG. I'm at Mitchell Renz 365.